Hi guys, welcome back. Hold on, let me pause this fabulous music for you. Okay. I'm really excited about all of the work you turned in last week. Your glamour shots were out of this world, amazing. So good. Thank you for working so hard, for adding and incorporating all of those weird, strange elements like outer space backgrounds, holding your pets, I mean, the neon lasers. You guys crushed it. It was so good. And if nothing else, it was just comforting and like soothing to see your faces. So thank you. I'm wearing another art teacher dork shirt, just so you know. Thank you, Jana, for the earrings I'm wearing. What I wanted to go over this week is your project that will be due Sunday. So listen, I heard your complaints about having too much for last week, and I understand, and I want to respect that. However, I want to have like one really big, cool project every week that you guys can turn in. I won't make it due Friday. I'll make it due every Sunday. That way it gives you the weekend if you need it. But if you want to knock it out early, then you have a little extra time to pay attention to other electives, core classes, Nintendo Switch, whatever it is that y'all do. Hopefully it's drawing in your sketchbook. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to go over our assignment for this week. I don't know how many of you guys, let's do that one. How many of you guys follow the Getty Museum of Art? But if you don't, you totally should, because it's worth your while. This project that we're doing this week is going to come directly from a social media prompt that the Getty Museum, it's in Los Angeles, put out last week. So if you can see my screen, let's start here. Our project is going to be called Life Imitates Art. So we are going to take a deeper look into some historical works of art and see how well we can not only relate to them, but also, dun, 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 how well we can recreate them. The art, let's move me. The art we make imitates the lives we live, right? We know this. If you look at this image here, it's a stone sculpture. It's a 16th century Italian sculpture. Does this remind you of anything that you've seen around Jacksonville? Anything you've seen in town? Mural, sculpture, portrait? Have you seen a photograph like this, a billboard? Does it look familiar? Just stop and think for a second. What if we turn it on its side? I mean, this is some sort of, 15th century stone sculpture. It's got a wide open mouth, open eyes. Does this look familiar yet? And now does it? I hope that this looks like something you might have maybe driven by, possibly walked through, but you can see the resemblance between this now, right? 16th century Italy and 21st century Jacksonville, Florida. So what we see, we recreate. Whether we realize it intentionally or not, we are absorbing information constantly, whether it's digital media or something that we just pass by or possibly turn a page on from a book that you've been looking through. These art resources are constantly influencing the art that we are making on our daily, in your sketchbook, on your phone, in your TikToks. Whatever it is that you're making, something before that you have seen is helping to influence what you're making now. So, artists are often inspired by artists who came before them. But since our lifetimes are different than the artists that we're looking at, our artwork will naturally reflect those differences. For example, on the left here, you'll see Venus de Milo. We looked at her when we were doing our figure sculpture projects at the beginning of the year. She's made out of marble. She was found in Greece sometime between 130 and 100 BC. That's before Christ or Common Era. This right here, it's larger than life size. And the one on the right that you see, this is a sculpture made by Jeff Koons. I should have included his name in there and I didn't, my apologies. He is an American sculptor based out of New York. I believe this one lives somewhere in like Venice though, or Milan, somewhere in Italy. But this is called Metallic Venus, chromium and stainless steel. and it was originally unveiled in New York. If you look at this sculpture here from 130 BC, and then you look at Jeff Koons from 2012, can you not, I mean, it's impossible to not see that resemblance. Jeff Koons, look at the materials, the differences. Marble, chromium, and stainless steel. The title, Venus de Milo, Metallic Venus. It's obvious that Jeff Koons was influenced by the Venus de Milo sculpture for this sculpture of his own, but given that it is 2012, the posture is the same, but the gesture that she's giving and the material she's made out of is going to be a little different because the times are different than they were in 130 BC. I hope you see where I'm going with this. Next, we'll move on to Edgar Degas, who was a French impressionist artist. We also have the creative license to add our own interpretive spin onto any artwork that we make in order to get a more contemporary message across to our viewers. This includes me. This includes you. This also includes Yinka Shonibare, who is an African artist. Typically, he works in textiles and fashion design and fabrics. Look at the original. And again, this is one of those images that we kind of researched and studied when we were doing our figure sculptures in the beginning of the year. Edgar Degas has this, it's called Tiny Ballerina, if you remember, and I wish that we were in class right now so that I could ask you to raise your hand and answer a question, but I can't, so I'm going to pretend that I hear you this whole time. Edgar Degas created Tiny Ballerina to represent innocence, the innocence that is fleeting, but at this time, her chest is lifted, her heart is open, her head is towards the sky. This is an image of innocence. That's what Tiny Ballerina was meant to represent in 1880 in France. So on the right, you see Shonibare's version of Tiny Ballerina, and his obviously has more contemporary medium, textile, fabric added to it. And this, so we have several layers here. He's adding his culture, which is from West Africa. That's what these patterns are. But also behind her back, in her hands, she's holding a gun. And this was made in 2007. So what you want to think about is like, okay, Degas was making this sculpture about the innocence of youth. Shonibare in Africa in 2007 is adding not only his cultural elements to this interpretation of Degas' ballerina with the fabric and the costume, but he's also adding more of like a concept, an idea, a thought behind the ballerina. The innocence from 1880 at 14 years old does not exist anymore in a 14-year-old in 2007, especially in his neighborhood in West Africa. So that gun, there's a lot of information packed into just that one element that he's adding to his interpretation of Degas' ballerina. And then we're going to move forward even more. 2017, so that's 10 years after Shonibare's ballerina. This was made by Ryan Gander. He lives in the United Kingdom, so he's a British artist. He works in bronze, but so the concept behind Degas' original ballerina has been adored, celebrated, dissected, and reinterpreted hundreds of times in hundreds of different ways. The way that Gander interpreted Degas' ballerina in bronze is that he took not just the gesture of the figure itself, but he wanted to take the idea out of that ballerina's brain. Not only is she not innocent anymore, like Shonibare showed us in 2007, she is now thinking deeper thoughts. So this ballerina on the left, you see, is taking a break. She's almost like, remember when we researched Auguste Rodin's Thinker, The Thinker, where he's sitting, also bronze, also French. But so Gander is doing the same thing here with Degas' ballerina. He's saying, what is this ballerina really thinking about? Maybe she doesn't want to rehearse 12 hours a day. Maybe she has other ideas that she wants to follow through within her lifetime. And then on the right, she's smoking a cigarette. Like, is that what you picture a ballerina doing? No, definitely not. Ballerinas are healthy, they're active, their lungs work. So what Gander is doing here is taking this original work of art from history and then adding his own spin onto it, which has already been spun 100 times throughout art history, and saying, you know, what do we really know about this ballerina? We don't know anything. She has her own thoughts. She has her own ideas. She has her own interpretation of whatever it is she's doing. So what I want you to get from that is that there's different ideas behind your artwork than the artwork that inspires yours. Okay, we're getting deep. So we've only been looking at sculptures so far. Let's jump into the work of a contemporary painter. And again, this is where I wish that I could say, raise your hands. Who am I going to show next? Because I know half of you guys already know. You're going to be like, oh, Miss Holloway's favorite is Kehinde Wiley. On the left, if you remember, this is the original painting of Napoleon. And on the right, we have Kehinde Wiley's version of it with iced tea. Look at the backgrounds, look at the clothing, different, but then look at the posture, right? So Kehinde Wiley, and I'll let you soak on that one for just a second, but I don't want to take that much of your time. So I'm sorry if I feel like I'm rushing. I don't want to go over like 15 minutes because I know you have your other electives. Kehinde Wiley, American painter. As an art student, Wiley noticed a lack of African people portrayed in art history books. It's true. Check it out. This upset him and then inspired him to create his own staple of placing African people and other people of different colors, mostly black and brown, but different colors, in the same places of power that rich white people are typically portrayed in throughout history, most generally here art history. Kehinde Wiley would be inspired by paintings in art history books, and he would love the medium, the movement, the value, everything about those images. But what he would do is take those images and recreate them with his friends, with celebrities, with just people off the street, normal everyday dudes and gals in normal clothes. So over here again, you'll see, this is one of those stuffy, boring, lame, rich white man things from European art history. And Kehinde Wiley takes that image and recreates it with that same gesture of power, of wealth, of status, of look at me, I'm important. But he's using young black men. He also has a whole series with Iranian men and women. He does women as well, as you could see in this one here. But he's my absolute favorite. He's the master of this concept of taking images from art history and then recreating them into more contemporary views for us to understand and relate to. Again, Napoleon and iced tea. So now we've seen sculptures by Jeff Koons. Now we've seen paintings by Kehinde Wiley. And I can just hear your questions in my head. I hear you. You're like, Miss Holloway, I can't paint like that guy. Miss Holloway, I don't have bronze or stainless steel. How can I even pull off a drawing that recreates any of these historic artworks? I hear you guys. You're in my head. You're in my dreams. You're in all of my thoughts. I miss you so much. Even these questions that I can always help you correct. You can and you will complete this assignment and you will crush it and it will be amazing. Do you see my eyes? Amazing. You're gonna do so great. This is just a little teaser and I'm so sorry, Howie. I love you, Howie. Love you, Howie. We already have a star in our midst at JWJ who has explored this concept with photography. So we looked at sculpture, we looked at painting. Now we are going to look at photography, just because I want to celebrate Howie. This is a shout out to her. She won a Gold Key Award at the Scholastics Regional Competition, and that allows her to move forward into nationals. She walked across a red carpet on the stage of the Florida Theater, and her image, this one right here, love you, Howie, was displayed on the big screen above her as she shook hands with important people and accepted her award. On the bottom right, you'll see this is by Johan Vermeer. This is the girl with the pearl earring. This is a Dutch painting. Howie did this on her own. She was inspired by this painting to do her own interpretation, and this was back in, what, I don't know, Howie, October, November? So on the left, you see that she's recreating the original, and then on the right side, she did her own contemporary spin on it, where she's wearing a camo hoodie, gold hoop earrings, hair is down, curly, out, big, and the expression is pretty much the same, But she's saying this is a young girl back then. This is an Ethiopian young girl now in America. So I wanted to brag on her for a second. All right. So what if we allow the lives that we live to imitate the art that we make? Deep. The saying typically goes that art imitates life, and that's true. It does. But what if we turn, that concept upside down and allow for the concept that our lives imitate art? Ask yourself this question. How does your life imitate the art that you make, or the art that you might even see? Because whether you realize it or not, it already does. And this week's project is going to bring that idea to the surface in the most fun way ever. All right, last week, this post from the Getty Museum in Los Angeles blew up on social media. This is from Twitter. I don't have Twitter, but I copied it off the internet. I have Instagram. I've seen it all over Instagram. Maybe you already have. They challenged their museum members to go through their online collection since the museum is closed and we're all stuck at home, and to find their favorite artwork, and then to find 3 things around their house, and then to recreate that favorite artwork using those 3 things. And now we are going to try the same exact thing this week with our own versions. So first of all, I want to tell you to keep it simple. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed at all or scared. We're going to be going on a scavenger hunt around our houses because we can't go anywhere else right now. And you are going to be recreating your own historic works of art with found objects and taking pictures of them. That's the photography part. Notice that it says right here, no editing. Don't get nervous, I can explain. Take, for example, this painting of a horse. You're like, Miss Holloway, I can't recreate that in my house. I don't have a horse, or even like a Dalmatian dog. How am I going to do that? Au contraire, you can. Look at this. That works for me. Does that work for you? You don't see it? Watch. I'm going to go back and forth so you can see it. Black and white horse, clouds in the background, brown dirt. Boom. See it? Trader Joe's, brown bag, black and white fabric, diapers, clouds. Boom, 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 boom. You can do this. So here are some of the examples that I found online from people who are members of the Getty Museum and submitted their own images from home. I hope you enjoy these. Again, don't want to take too much of your time, but these are what have been posted. Like, you guys could do this and you could do even better. And if you find it from the Getty, you can submit onto their online social media. Again, on the left, this is an original painting, Norman Rockwell, from their permanent collection. On the right, a normal person who probably lives in, who knows, Oklahoma, and did it at home. This is my personal favorite. This is a painting by Ong. He's, I want to say French painter, 16th, 17th century, and they use their lab, their yellow lab. I love it. Simple, simple, simple. What did she find? A bucket, a telephone cord, and just like a shirt. You guys can do this. This one on the left, another Vermeer painting. It's like a milkmaid, and then they have their daughter pouring the milk. But this one is very elaborate. If you go this far, I will give you extra credit. It's amazing. Salvador Dali on the left, right? The persistence of time. And then on the right, we have some bologna held over a fork and some sandwich bread. Grapes for hair. What is this? Like toilet paper torn up and attached for the fancy little collar here. Pete Mondrian we have up top, and then here they literally cut up slices of cheese, and that's red, yellow, and green peppers, pepper slices, to imitate this painting up top. Here we have, I think, Abbott Whistler, James McNeill Abbott Whistler. On the left, that's his original. It's entitled My Mother, something similar to that. My art history is not, I should brush up on that. And then they have their daughter recreating that original painting. Simple, right? Look, all they had was a little chair, a black dress, a sheet for her head, and just a black and white picture on the wall. So now, I know I'm rushing. It's your turn, and I want you to have fun with this. This could be so crazy cool. Steps for success. 1, if you already have a favorite artwork from history, pull up an image of it online or on your phone. If you don't already, do some fun research online or check out the Getty Museum's website posted right here. And I'm going to upload this PowerPoint to your assignment tab. I'm also going to attach this link right here to the Getty Museum in our general channel so you can access it there. And they have a huge collection, tons of really impressive sculptures, paintings, photographs, drawings, etchings, prints. You can find anything on there that you're drawn to. Please keep it school appropriate again. And then once you've selected the artwork, you get to go on a hunt around your house. Find a minimum of three minimum. Find as many items as you can that could help to make your recreation as awesome as the original. If you need help or inspiration or more resources, I have art history books, I have websites, I have links, I have videos. I could nerd out so hard, art history style. The ones that I did for you guys came from this book that I typically read over breakfast. So that's how cool your art teacher is. If you need help, let me know. Here are the two examples that I made for you guys. This one on the left is an old necklace that was just found in an archaeological dig in Syria, 1750 BC. And then I recreated it here for you with a belt, some white paper, and some crackers. You will notice I drew Sharpie on the crackers just to make that a little more similar to the original. Did I eat those crackers after? That's up for you to ponder and me to know. And the last image I have for you is this one here. I recreated The Death of Marat by Jacques-Louis David, another French painter. In this original, Marat was writing a suicide letter. In his suicide letter, it said, "I did all that I could for France," and then something extra special. And then in my letter here, Miss Holloway, this is the quarantine of Miss Holloway. Down here, you'll see it says A. Marat. That was who the subject is, but then the painter is David, Jacques-Louis David. So here it's JWJ Art, that's us, and then Holloway. This is my, I'm so sick of quarantine, but I wrote a letter here, and it says, what I can do for my students, I will, because you guys are awesome. I think that's the last slide. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to close out with, oh gosh, I got to get used to that. If you have questions, please let me know. I'm going to post this video Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you miss it one of those days, you have absolutely no excuse to watch it again. There will be a quiz every single day, and I will be uploading the PowerPoint that I just showed you and the resource links to the Getty Museum, as well as probably the Rijks in, I mean, just tons of museums. I'm going to give you tons of museums. So I love you guys. I miss you guys. Art class, signing out. Good luck. Have fun and reach out whenever you need to.